So, welcome everybody to the first coaching clinic of 2025. And I thought we would start the year with the topic of money and miracles. This topic is always juicy, and it's an area that I think we continue to grow in. I don't think we ever come to the point of, okay, I've got it, where money and miracles are concerned. At least it's my experience that the moment I think I've mastered that, it's when I've started to take the reins again. And that's when things begin to sort of slow down a bit in terms of seeing the miracle or experiencing the flow, be that with money or anything else. So what I share with you on these coaching clinics is applicable across any subject. It's a simple understanding that will change your world and your experience of life as you know it. So, as money tends to be an experience of life that we humans have somewhat got wrong in a way, let's get it right by realigning to the truth and connecting to what's divinely ours and what's available when we let go of the reins, when we let go of trying to effort, trying to strive, trying to scare ourselves on this subject. So, as always, I like to start our coaching clinics with a gentle meditation that just connects us and allows us to hear more deeply. And what's occurring to me at presently is, to really get in on your questions sooner, rather than taking any sort of long length of time to set the table. So I'd really love to open up the coaching clinic whereby there's more opportunity for you to have a question answered or get an insight about something or share from your own perspective what you're seeing, what's helpful to you. So that's just a little bit of an FYI going forward. And so we'll open up to that just after the meditation. I will set the table a little bit with the subject, and then we'll get straight in on what's juicy and what's fresh, what's required for you. So just join with me now as we close our eyes and begin to take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out. Some of you might prefer to breathe through the mouth rather than the nose. You decide, whatever feels good, whatever is easy. And I like to do this to the count of 4. So if you're open to it, allow yourself to breathe in for 4, hold, and breathe out for 4. So you're really beginning to bring the breath to a more present way of just in and out. In, 2, 3, 4, hold, and out. 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, and hold, and out. 2, 3, 4. Become aware of your body just sitting in the chair or lying on the bed. Feel the weight of your body without judgment, just completely supported by wherever you're sitting or lying down. And in your mind's eye, see roots coming from the feet, down through the ground, down into the underground, right down to that rock at the bottom of the earth. Wrap those roots around that rock. golden light emanates from this rock. See this light traveling now up through the roots, through the underground, through the ground, through the floorboards, and into your feet. Send this light up through your body now. See it really touching every atom, every cell, every bone, every part of your body. Allow this light to completely cover you and envelope you in this protective elixir of golden energy. If there's any part of your body that has been feeling uncomfortable lately, send extra light to that area. And just ahead of you in your mind's eye, just see a beautiful golden path. And I'd love to invite you to step onto that path. This is the path of the miraculous. And as you walk along this path, just imagine the miracles coming alive. What is it you want to see this year, experience more of, step into, walk towards? Allow yourself to gently move along this golden path, seeing each miracle come to life. If doubts come in, just to tell you, yeah, right, or some chance, or that's not going to happen, just set those doubts aside for a moment and just witness the image of what it is you'd love to see occur. And feel the feeling of that. Embody that feeling right now. The quality of your vision and the way you feel about that vision is what counts. If something seems too big of a stretch, just know that there are little steps towards that will feel less of a stretch, but will ultimately take you to that desire you have, that miracle you seek. Keep walking along the path of the miraculous. You might have one big miracle you'd love to see happen, or you might have many little miracles that you're calling in this year. Doesn't matter. The beautiful thing about miracles is that really there's no difficulty in creating the miracle. Whether it's big or it's small is irrelevant. It's all the same energy flowing towards your vision, your desire for that thing or that experience. Bask in the enjoyment of receiving Bask in the beauty of being so deeply connected to the life force that creates miracles. And know that you deserve, you are worthy, and you deserve whatever it is that you love to experience, to have, to accomplish, to be, to live into. And now gently coming back to this moment, noticing the weight of your body without judgment on the chair or the bed or the sofa. Begin to gently move your feet, your toes, maybe your shoulders, your fingers. And in your mind's eye, just see roots coming from your feet, down through the ground, down into the underground, and right down to that rock at the bottom of the earth. Wrap those roots around that rock. Feel yourself centered, connected, clear, and already on the path of the miraculous. When you feel ready, just gently open your eyes. You might want to write something down. Just come back to this moment. So there's a powerful principle that allows us to experience abundance and more of the miraculous. And that principle is the principle of increase, not the principle of less, not the principle of limitation or lack, the principle of increase or expansion. How do we know when we're in that energy? Well, we usually have a desire or a want. As I've often said, desire coming from the Latin desidere, which translates as from the Father. Desire is something that is planted in us, which usually yields a feeling of increase. We're desiring something more or something else. And that principle of increase is always at work. Life is always wanting to expand and develop and create and increase, rather than shrink and get smaller and get depleted and die. So what if the path to your greater abundance this year is as simple as allowing yourself to go in the direction of what you truly desire and want without judging it, without making it wrong, without coming up with all the reasons that you can't do that, but rather just noticing, where is it that you feel alive? What is it that makes you feel alive? Aliveness in itself is that sense of increase. That principle supports us in just really going in the direction of what's being planted in our hearts. See, we think we're coming up with things we want, but actually, we're usually getting down from above what wants to be expressed through us. The less we make that wrong, or the less we doubt that, the more abundance we experience, the more miracles we witness. I am a huge fan, as everyone probably knows, of spiritual support when it comes to these desires. I can't think of anything better than needing help around getting what I want or experiencing whatever desire is coming through. And one of the ways I do that is I simply notice the increase I'm looking for, be it to feel healthier, to have more energy, be it to travel somewhere, be it to have a better shower head in my bathroom, as I was just asking spiritual support around that this morning. It doesn't matter what it is that you're wanting some form of increase around. You're asking for something greater or better than what you're currently experiencing or living now. And we have an option of being really well supported in getting what we want. That includes money. As we call on the spiritual support that is all around. You might connect with that spiritual support as a part of you, as a guidance within you. Or like me, you might connect with that spiritual support as a team around you, a team of helpers, a spiritual team at your beck and call. I prefer the latter because I think a lot of the time, if it's up to me, it's just not going to have the same result. So I enjoy calling upon the energy that is available, the consciousness that is still alive, and calling upon that for help. Now, I am blessed at this stage to be a believer in energy such as God, angels, loved ones, all of that. I have a loved one who passed 4 years ago, and I have named him the CEO of my spiritual team. You might have someone who's gone before you. And calling upon this energy that really is the consciousness behind life is an option, rather than you and I efforting and struggling and trying to figure out how to get what we want or make sure the money arrives on time or whatever. I will continue to remind you that you're not walking this path alone, that there is plenty of scope for spiritual support. Our job is to remember that and go ahead and ask for it. And as we get in the habit of receiving that support and we're seeing those miracles and we're thanking that team around us, whoever they are, whatever it is, we experience more. So nothing is too small and nothing is too great. It could start with something as simple as I need a perfect parking space. It could be something as big as, holy shit, my tax bill's coming in and I don't have the money in my account, but I know that I've got a spiritual support team around me that knows how to figure that out. Now, it's not that we're just going to sit back and not do anything. It's that we're becoming open to receive the miracle. We are no longer shut down in our little minds, efforting and striving to figure things out. We are opening to divine guidance. Your team will give guidance through you. But if you are very resistant to the subject, or if you are extremely worried about the subject, your team is going to use someone else, what we call a cooperative component. Your spiritual support is going to use another human to give you the guidance. Why? Because your bandwidth or our bandwidth is too noisy about the subject. So we get to open up to, what are we hearing over and over again from people? What keeps showing up? What ideas keep recurring? Who said that again? I remember in the case of one situation where I was absolutely shut down about any possibility of getting support in an area. I remember a friend of mine getting really super angry. We were sitting together and he was just shouting. He started shouting at me about all the reasons I didn't have to go through what I thought I had to go through, because in the end, it was kind of a legal matter. It was a thing called jury service. In my mind, there was no way out of that. And he began shouting, and I took notice. And I realized I need to follow up with this because he's a cooperative component. And he was right. I followed up. And in my following up, I was freed from doing something that looked like an absolute no-go area for me, something that I would ultimately would have to rearrange my whole business life around for X number of weeks. Who knows how long it might have gone on. So sometimes we're so shut down with worry or convinced that this worldly matter, look, it's on paper. Look at this worldly matter on paper and it's very official. We're convinced that there's no support. Well, see, spirit will use someone else to get the message across if there's something for you to do. So what do? We just remain open to the miraculous. Money is not the exception here. It just looks like it is for some. Money holds no greater weight than some other subjects. It's just that we have a lot of learned thinking about this area, and most of it isn't even true. So we begin to call on divine guidance, energy, support, direction, and we get out of the way. We relax. I know that sounds like the last thing you might want to do when you're facing some sort of financial challenge, but we relax. We fall into feelings of well-being. We take our mind off the subject. We allow our spiritual support to have the opportunity to get the message to us, to show us the direction, to give us the guidance, sometimes through other people, and sometimes we're just less charged by the subject and we know what to do. Rarely is it that we're sitting on our sofa and our spiritual team has someone come and knock the door and hand over $1 million, right? More likely it is we're relaxed, we're at ease, we're in feelings of enjoyment. And a download comes in, an insight occurs, or an email arrives, or a phone call shows up, or a person we hadn't thought of in X number of months or years keeps coming to mind. That's how simple it is. Let this just give you some hope, some perspective, some possibility that the principle of increase, not the principle of let me sacrifice, let me just not have that. That way I'll save money and I won't have to worry about money. Not the principle of decrease and limitation. The principle of increase allows you to move on to the path of abundance. How do we discover the increase? Follow your desires. Take the first step. Figure it out whatever way you need to. Doesn't have to be all at once. Let go, relax, receive, hand it over to spiritual team or support. Maybe that's a figure that you absolutely truly believe in. Maybe it's someone that has crossed to the other side and is sitting in the wings, waiting to be used by you. Maybe it's just the energy behind life. Doesn't matter. You can personify it or not. Hand it over and simply be alert to the miracle, to the guidance that comes in, to the physical support that shows up. Let's open it up here. Anyone have a question or a specific situation or a yes, but, or anything like that? Charlene, lovely to see you. Come on, sweetheart.
Hello, Happy New Year, Grace.
Same to you.
Everybody. So there are a few things going on that I would love to bring here. Let me start here. I think I've spent a really, really long time trying to control and hold things together. And towards the end of the year, I decided to really let go in a major way. And I've gotten to a place where I just have started to switch my brain off. I just enter this place of no thought. It's just like the ultimate surrender, and it's really blissful and lovely. And I guess there's a part of me that it's so kind of foreign to the overthinking that I'm used to. There's part of me that feels a little bad about it because I'm just not interested in the overthinking that I used to do. A lot of the overthinking that I've done masqueraded as being concerned and caring for other people. And it's just kind of stopped. And I would love to be more intentional around what you mentioned around the spiritual team. Because I do pray, like I'll whisper a prayer throughout the day about things that I want, and they do show up. But I'd like to be more intentional about knowing that I've got my back covered with all sorts of spiritual entities that will support me in different things. I guess my question is about this whole letting go and surrender because it's so weird and it's so different to what I'm used to. Could you speak to, I guess I'm feeling, I'm just really focused as a result of just switching my brain off. I am, even if it means I'm watching TV, I'm very focused and present on what I'm doing. I'm not wasting time in the way that I used to. And at the same time, it feels a bit dangerous to me. I think perhaps I've used overthinking to try and protect myself from the unknown. And I wonder if you could speak to that.
Well, Sharleen, you know what I hear in what you're sharing is, you know, it you're transitioning into this new experience of allowing yourself to create from a place that's not so worrisome. That takes a bit of time and getting some trust around.
Mm,
So I invite you to be patient with yourself there. Of course, it's going to feel a bit disconcerting when we go from totally overthinking and worrying as a means to getting results in the world
mm,
to being relaxed and at ease, and then kind of getting nervous about being relaxed or at ease. And does this really work? And where are the miracles? But what I can tell you is that way you were doing it, that train is gone. It's too late. you
yeah.
you've moved now to this, what I hear, to this deeper place of well-being. And it's really about beginning to well, first of all, giving yourself time to see the results there, but it's really about beginning to trust that you can be a powerful creator from this place of well-being,
Hmm.
that you can be of great service to the world and still stay relaxed,
Hmm.
that you can
Hmm.
have miracles, you can have money, you can have your business, you can have clients, and still just be able to watch TV or lie
Yeah.
on your bed and do a meditation or read your book. Now, it's it's contrary to what you've learned and what we've been told and the way you have been doing it. So just give yourself a little bit of grace, if you like,
Yeah.
to not transition fully, to navigate this unknown or this uncertainty.
Yeah.
You will feel the guidance to action
Mm-hmm.
from this place of well-being. You will not be left just watching TV.
Yes.
But depending on how burnt out we are on our mental fumes, if the fan belt has been going for years and you're feeling you might need more time to for this transition, you might need more of the gentleness and it's going to be less about hearing downloads and more about refueling. Only you can know. Take heart. In due time, you will be taking action. But now, from a place of well-being, which yields completely different results,
Mm-hmm.
rather than from a place of worry, rather than from a place of habit,
Yeah.
rather than from a place of have to. That's just what's coming through here. Does this speak to you at all?
Oh, 100%. I'd also like to say that from this space of nothing that I've described in my brain, where I've literally just powered down, which doesn't mean that I don't take action. I just take action from a powered down space.
Mhm.
But from that powered down space, I made a decision yesterday that I will always have money.
Mhm.
It was
Good.
very intentional. It was very, this is what will be. It was very decisive.
Yeah.
And that was it. And today, a music client reached out to me and I got surprise royalties. That never happens. I get royalties every quarter.
Yeah.
That's it. The last royalties I received was in December. So for me to receive royalties in January, it's unheard of. These things, both of those things happened today.
Yeah.
And I've just decided that I'm always going to have money.
Well,
And
get used to that. Get used to those instant miracles,
yeah,
you see. And being relaxed, being in this space of well-being that I hear you've been moving into, leaning into more and more, you know, that there's space for miracles to come in. There's space for royalties to arrive.
mm,
There's space for incredible insights and decisiveness. Trust that.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Very pleased for you, sweetheart. Anybody else? A question, a comment, an observation, a challenge that you might want perspective or you might want to hear your own wisdom around as we connect together? I might need to go to the gallery view. And no question or no comment is too on oh, was someone going to speak? Sarah. Okay.
Good.
Thank you, darling.
Hi there.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Good to
Uh,
hear. What's on your mind?
yeah, I want to be better than hanging in.
Sure.
Um, so this is a bit vulnerable, and I think might have raised this once before. I feel like I'm carrying something that's very heavy, and I feel very alone in it and sort of the weight I'm carrying with it. And I've been struggling for quite some time with a kind of addictive relationship with food, and having just a very imbalanced relationship with it for there's kind of a whole bunch of history around that, and it makes a lot of sense, but it isn't really. I sort of feel like I need a miracle. and also some really, really special partnership, on a counseling level, to assist me with finding a new possibility, and a way to a new possibility that doesn't have to feel so excruciating. And yeah, it's just been a lot, and it's just sometimes it's almost just like shocking to me that I'm kind of navigating this messy mess. um and then other parts, other things, other parts of me, and other aspects, are of living. I mean, I feel there's some very wonderful, beautiful things that I continue to feel the light in, and and the grace and beauty of that unfolding. And yet, just like, wow, what about this? This feels so significant, and it carries so much around my own health and well-being, and a feeling of empowerment, and self-trust. So I guess ultimately what it feels meaningful to kind of share it, and especially because it's felt so heavy, and also, to just have the desire expressed of really, really helpful healing partnership that can kind of help me find my way through this into a freedom.
Yeah. See, there's your principle of increase right there, Sarah. Like I hear such clarity in your desire for support in this area. And your spiritual support knows who to send you for that, knows who that is. I love that you shared this here with us and have the courage to be vulnerable, to voice it. And what I hear in your voicing of it is just this deep clarity of, I don't want to keep doing this alone. There's, I suppose in a way, I'm inviting you to trust that your desire to be free, in a feeling of freedom around this, already sets the miracle in motion. And we can invite our spiritual support to guide us to the counselor, or guide us to the person that would allow our deepest transformation. And you could even be as specific as in the quickest time possible. You know, this doesn't have to keep weighing on you. And for what it's worth, I just think that you're hearing a call towards something, and you can trust that. You don't even have to trust yourself here. You can just trust that yearning for help and that yearning for a feeling of freedom is Spirit's way of wanting to express through you.
Yeah. And there's something about, you know, when any of us, I imagine others here may be able to relate to this in some way, you know, have an experience, or you know, even a long-term experience, you know, of feeling out of control with something. You know, I think something I'm appreciating, valuing in the moment is, you know, um, feeling my greater being, you know, my greater presence, my um, all of who I am, you know, like we talk about in Living Miraculously, um, the greater knowing of who I am, um, being here, excuse me, alongside this, you know, so that, you know, there's still the integrity of my being. And um, I guess that in this moment, as I'm speaking, sort of an ability to be present and sort of bring witness, you know, bring a loving witness um, to this, and that feels really meaningful right now. You know, to be able to have that place of, wow, what do I do with this aspect of myself that has, you know, that feels so um, so out of proportion, you know, out of control, and then sort of in the greater container of the greater me, to have both. Yeah.
Well, we don't judge it. We have compassion for it.
Mm.
And I don't know anyone who comes to know their inner being or their greater self with a capital S that hasn't first been through some level of challenge. So this experience that you live is, of course, allowing you to know your greater self at a deeper level. And where we now put our attention is what matters. It sounds to me, Sarah, like you've been touching your true self more and more frequently, that this aspect of yourself that's experiencing the suffering, there's just a gap here. You're going to close a gap. And yet you're being given guidance. There's some form of help that I require. Send me who it is. Send me in the quickest possible time, the deepest transformation. I am ready to live in my freedom. That's where your spiritual support can help you. That's where you get out of the blue recommendations. That's where you hear about someone that has had a transformation in an area. So
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, hey, Sarah, don't worry about yourself too much. Just notice here, wow, you've been strong enough to come on and share. you voiced in a way that shows clarity for what you want going forward. Now, as frustrating as it is that, you know, you'd love to already be there by now, just allow yourself to be in the compassion for where you are, knowing that it's on the way. You're on the way to that true, that freedom self that I hear you becoming. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sarah mentioned there, she's been in our course Living Miraculously, and this exploration is part of that. It's really in allowing us to experience life through a more miraculous lens, because you see, it's where we're putting our attention. It's not that the challenges and the struggles and everything just suddenly vanish. It's where we're actually orientated that matters. And when our orientation is more on the problem, the lack, the limitation, the worry, the challenges, then our experience of life is that more and more. In Living Miraculously, we're pointing people to an orientation that is more guided around what you want and what is working and what is healthy within us and the miracles that are occurring. And as we orientate more over there, we notice we're living in a feeling of well-being more of the time. Does it mean that our challenge has suddenly gone? Not necessarily. There's sometimes a gap to be closed and a time lag or a healing journey to be on. But boy, is life much more an experience of being okay and experiencing more of the miraculous as we orientate in this other way. Because that's the place we have choice. We don't really know what life's going to throw us. Sydney Banks, the enlightened welder, said, life is a contact sport. And what I interpret he meant by that was we're going to get our challenges, we're going to get our knocks. It's something we engage in. It's not something we sit back around and hope for the best. Life being a contact sport, it's not that, you know, everything falls away and everything's just rosy, but rather that we have choice in where we orientate our lens. And the lens of the miraculous is something that's available to all of us. And I heard it in Sarah when she just says, I'm ready for this freedom. I can see my true self, or my greater self in all of this, even though this other part of me is still catching up with the thing that I am experiencing and currently struggling with. Here we are. In case you'd like to learn more about Living Miraculously, here's a link with $100 off. We're starting next Monday. I've just posted it in the chat box. And we're starting next Monday for our next round of Living Miraculously. It'll go for 8 weeks. And I think it's around maybe $297. It might be less than that if you're alumni, and it certainly might be less than that if you're using the coupon that I just sent you there. But if this subject speaks to you, feel free to come in and go deeper with myself and my colleague Dominic Scafidi We're actually going into our 3rd year of this program. It has just taken on a life of its own, and you know, session after session or round after round, we find people asking for more of it. So we've continued to offer it. So again, that starts next Monday. And alternatively to that, you're welcome to engage some one-to-one coaching if you'd like to in the coming months. Get in touch with me, Grace at gracefulcoaching@gmail.com. Sorry, I'll just re-say that, gracefulcoaching@gmail.com. And you can get in touch with me there, and we can set up a call to explore what private coaching could look like for you, what it might support you with. I currently have a couple of spaces available, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you around that. Back to the money and miracles. Our session today is really laying a foundation here to allow each of us to orientate towards truth. And as we orientate towards truth, we see more and more miracles, be that in money or health or anywhere else. How do we know it's truth? It feels good. How do we know it's a lie that we're telling ourselves or that we're witnessing? It comes with a lot of stress. It feels awful. It's flavored with worry. So there will be plenty more scope in each monthly clinic to deepen as we go along. But for the sake of today's clinic, allow yourself to consider that you have a support network around you. It may be invisible, but it is the same energy that turns acorns into oak trees. It is the same energy that's beating your heart right now. It is the same energy that is just allowing people to come up with incredible ideas that improve society. It is this energy, and it is with you. It is available to you. And when we find ourselves efforting or struggling or striving or feeling alone in the world, we've just moved away from the truth of that energy. Get in the habit this year of calling on that energy to support you with everything and anything. You might start very small to convince yourself, or you might start with something that you just really need help with now. But allow yourself to feel into the possibility that life wants you to increase, that is the path to greater abundance, that you sacrificing yourself or your desires or your wants just because of what's in your bank account is not where it's at. Take the first step, let the rest come. Sometimes that means that we want to take a trip and all we've got is the money for the flight. And sometimes it means that we need to pay a particular bill and all we've got is a third of it. As we go in the direction of the first step and we invite our spiritual support to support us, to help us to move forward, we begin to see a law of increase, a possibility for flow. And so therefore, money is not the exception. Money is just one of these subjects where you might find you've got more thinking about it. You might find you've got learned habits of thought that get you bogged down. That is the precise area that you want to really invite your spiritual support to help you with. That is the precise area you want to get out of the way with, and let life guide you and take over. So I hope that's been helpful today. I really look forward to being with you next month. And don't forget, there'll be a replay of this coming to you via email and probably on Facebook. And I really look forward to seeing you in February. I can't remember the exact date, but you'll get notification of that. So thanks for your presence, everybody. See you soon. Lots of love.